Before we start, I'm not going to tell you that you need X times your income saved by each age category. If you want that kind of video, click away. I'm going to run through with you now a somewhat realistic, bare bones, genuine net worth by age. It will not be 100% the same for you, your situation, and that's fine. But it will take into consideration the fact that life happens. So let's dive in. Most people don't start their life at 18, but I think it is an important beginning for finances because for many, it's when things start to get real. Decisions are actually your own, and suddenly money is about 90% of what you think about. Whether you're off to university, an apprenticeship, or deciding to go straight into a job, the life of finance for you has begun. I hope for most of you your net worth is somewhat positive before all this begins. Legally, no credit card debt or any other debts by 18. But around half of people aged 18 will take the next steps as university. Around 90 to 95% of students who attend university take out student loans, which currently sits around £9,500 per year. So basically 30k for a 3-year degree or 40 for a 4-year. And let's not talk about medics. 30 to 60k, let's say, debt by the time you're out. On top of that, you have maintenance loans and living costs to deal with. So let's say 50 to 80k debt before we leave university. Now, if you're lucky enough to have family or a scholarship to pay for further education, then, well, you'll still be at no debt. So, in what world is having saved or invested thousands of pounds at this age realistic? Well, it is possible, but not necessarily advised upon. I'm not a financial advisor yet, and what I am telling you should not be seen or taken as advice. It's more an overview of how people do live their life realistically. Between the ages of 18 and 25, life varies a lot. But what's realistic for you? If you are the majority of people, you will have some debt, whether it's student loans at university, potential credit card debt to pay off, or even a car loan. Chances are your net worth is not positive at this point. Your aim should be to try and reduce the credit card debt. This is manageable by simply not spending more than you make at this time. Yes, it does mean living within your means. And yes, I know things can be expensive, but it is possible to do. Ideally at this age range, you should have no consumer debt. So that credit card balance does need to go and no cars on finance. Yes, a car is more convenient and might be needed, but save up money for a year or two and then buy a second-hand car. My car's lasted me 9 years so far and is still going strong, which was second-hand when I got it. Now, if you want to try and get ahead at this age, it will pay you most throughout your life. But if you can, even while studying or if you're working, try to get a job that means you can that you can put a bit of money away. If you can save some money and build up some good habits at this age, the rest of your life will be on easy mode. If you have a scholarship or someone is paying for your tuition, whether it's family or sponsor, you should be trying to save/invest some money each month if you are working. If you are working to survive and actually pay for bills day to day, this is obviously not going to be as possible to do. So try and start with something little, maybe £50 a month, which is just over £10 a week. When your paycheck arrives, move £50 instantly into an ISA in the UK or a high yield savings account. If you do this for 12 months of the year, you'll have saved £600. A good start to look out for your future. If you have a month where you cannot save money, then it's not the end of the world. I know a lot of people struggle around holidays or celebrations, so it is likely that you're going to miss a month. Don't worry, Life happens. But try and get back onto it the month after. In an ideal world, where you have been dealt a good hand, or you're working your socks off for a better life, at this age you could have, by 25, £3,000 to £10,000 saved. You will still have some debt in student loans or mortgages if you've been lucky enough to save up for a deposit, but this is a good starting goal to aim for. Now, I'm going to class the next category between 25 and 35. At this age, you should have some income, and hopefully by the end of it at 35, earning a decent amount of money. You've had time to make a life, but work and income might be a bit more on your mind now. It is a strange time, because people you know might be getting married, having kids, or even buying houses. All of this is within your reach. Hopefully by this point you are able to save £100 to £500 a month. Whether you do this or not is completely up to you. Everyone's life is individual and different, but some months you might only be able to save £100 and other months maybe £300. But the best, most consistent way to save is to set up an automatic transfer into an ISA or a pension at this point on the day the money hits your account, so you cannot spend it in the month. A lot of people don't understand why saving and investing is so important, or what it means in their future properly. If you save £500 a month for an entire year, you'll have saved £6,000. 1 year of hard work. If you then leave that money in an all-world mutual fund, tracking the top 500 companies in the world or America, every year for the rest of your life, you will receive on average £500 from that account. If you are 25 and you do this, that is the equivalent of £25,000 given to you over the next 50 years of your life. For 1 year saving, that's pretty ridiculous. We haven't even considered what happens if you don't touch that money. If you leave that money completely untouched for 50 years, it will be worth £280,000 from £6,000. Now that's a big number. If you waited until you were 35, that £6,000 would only reach £130,000. So those 10 years make a huge difference. This is an 8% return on investment, which is fairly conservative and having been adjusted for inflation as well. For 1 year of hard work of saving and investing, now imagine doing that for 10 years. Your life is in your hands at this point, and every day you wait, the less time you give your money to grow. So at 35, I would try and save between £200 to £1,000 per month. Depending on income and where you are on the scale of pay, if you're making £5,000 a month, then £1,000 is quite reasonable. If you're making closer to £2,000 a month, which is the national minimum wage in the UK, then £200 is more realistic. Now, we haven't mentioned something big in this category. In fact, two large life events: buying a house and having a family. As I said before, this is an ideal world. Life happens. Let's say between the ages of 25 and 35 you wish to buy a house, so you need a deposit. That's fine. We need to save some money for that. The monthly spend on a mortgage should not be most of your income. If it is, you are living too fancily and need to start smaller. If I was to live my life again, I would rent a low-cost apartment until I could save up for a deposit, whilst investing at the same time. This way I could get some market returns, but also I'm saving for a house. When I had enough of the deposit and I could afford a mortgage payment, I would go for it. But I wouldn't stop investing, because the returns are far greater on average from the investment than the interest on the mortgage. Now, the other thing that I mentioned was starting a family. Maybe you get married or having children in this age range. So now your expenses go up. This is going to happen in life if you want kids, so you have to prepare for it. It means money you are able to save will go down each month. You have an extra mouth or two to feed, to clothe, to keep warm in the winter. If you have a wedding, that could easily be £20,000 to spend. Yes, you can do it for less or more or whatever, but on average, it could cost this. So that £200 to £1,000 might shift to £100 to £1,000. So by 35, using these figures, we're taking into account one or two large things that might have happened. And the £3,000 to £10,000 saved from 25, we're looking at maybe £5,000 to £70,000. Remember, these are extremes. Both ends of the scale will still have a mortgage or potentially other payments like student loans, etc. But if you are positive in money saved / invested, with no consumer debt like cars or credit cards, and you've got married and have a deposit, you're doing phenomenally well. Right, on to 35 to 45. Now, hopefully at this point in your life, you're hitting your stride at work, making a bit more than a few years ago. Maybe a promotion or two, or a side job that's helping paying some of your bills. Your biggest payments at this point are probably your mortgage or kids if you have them. Yes, they still cost money. Honestly, you still might not feel ahead or even remotely close. This is the reality of comparison. Try not to compare yourself to others, but more so where you were 5 years ago. At this point, hopefully you have a house or are paying off the house. It can be purchased recently with a deposit you took a few years aggressively saving for. That's fine. Maybe you need a car, so you had to spend £10,000 on a good second-hand one that will last you at least 10 years. All of this is still possible, but so is the voice at the back of your head telling you to save for retirement. All of the numbers I have mentioned have been 10 to 20% of your take-home pay being saved or invested. And in my eyes, that's the sweet spot. I would expect expenses and bills to take up 50% of income, potentially going up to 70 to 75% on very hard months, e.g. the car breaks down, or you need a repair, your boiler breaks, etc. And hard months exist, and sometimes they occur back to back, sometimes back to back to back. So 3 months of your life feels like hell. These times will come, so prepare for them. Save some money when you can, and when things go a bit south, you can cover them with a bit of money saved. Why only invest 10 to 20% then? Why not more if you can do more? Well, this is absolutely up to you. If you can save 50% of your income and you want to, then go for it. The future you will thank you financially. But will future you thank you for the experiences and memories you've missed out on? Will future you think back to those weekend trips away you could have had for £200 or £500? But you save the money instead. Honestly, this is one of the most personal things you can think or ask about, because I don't know what type of person you are. I personally want to have enough money to not think about it ever again. Not billions, but enough for me. I'm happy to sacrifice a bit earlier on in my life for the delayed gratification, but not at the expense of my happiness and life experiences. Comment down below your percentage of income you save or invest per year. So between 35 and 45, I would say invest enough so you don't miss out on those important moments with family and friends. A sensible amount would still be around £30,000 to £200,000 by 45. The longer you go in your life, the more chance you have of receiving money elsewhere, either from a successful job, bonuses, pay rises, a side hustle that pays monthly, or potential business. Even inheritance is more likely as a potential lump sum of money. So the top number of 200,000 could be considerably more. If you have considerably more, then a lot of the information doesn't apply to you. If you're living within your means and have 25 times your annual living expenses saved, then you should be fairly set for life. So this is the final category I want to go through today. 45 to 65/70 for the younger viewers. The point where you approach retirement. Some people retire around 50, others around 60, most around 65. In this time period, you should be hopefully paying off or finishing paying off your house. All other debt should be paid off for as well. Saving and investing is your priority if you have any hopes of retiring, because that day is coming, and how you want to feel on that day and for the rest of your life depends on your savings rate. For a comfortable retirement, you want around 25 your yearly expenses. If your expenses are £20,000, this will be £500,000. However, this isn't the whole truth, because pensions exist, and hopefully your money, or some of it, has been going into your pension, which has been growing well over time. The state pension in the UK currently sits around £12,500 per person over the age of 67. So for a couple, that's £25,000 a year. So what this means is the amount you would need from 67 onwards for a £45,000 per year pension is £500,000 instead. A £250,000 pot not invested would last you 12 and a half years at £20,000. The minimum standard of living for a retired couple has been stated at £22,500 per year. A moderate standard of living at £45,400 and comfortable at £62,700. So on top of the £25,000 state pension, you would need an extra £37,700 per year, which when we do 25 times that number is £942,000. This number seems very unrealistic to hit when working for those final 20 years. You'd need to be saving above £40,000 per year. Now this is possible as a high earner, but for the average person, it wouldn't be. This is why I always say to build the habit of investing early. The earlier you start, the easier it'll be. Do you remember at the start I said that if you spend one dedicated year in your 20s and save £500 a month, you'd have £280,000 by retirement? Imagine doing that for 4 years. You'd have 1.1 million in retirement. A few years of sacrifice for a comfortable retirement ahead. I personally think it's worth it. So as a final takeaway, between the ages of 45 to 65, if you are planning on retirement and want a certain amount to live on each year, you can times that number by 25 to get the final number. But in reality, with the £25,000 state pension each year and investment returns from early investing, that number might not be as difficult as you think. If you want £25,000 in retirement each year, then you will need £25,000 for each year before the state pension age for you. If you want £40,000, you need £15,000 per year on top of the state pension and £40,000 each year before it. If you want £100,000, then you're going to need to save over £2 million. And will have been very good at investing over a long period of time, high income earner, or have been dealt a good hand in life. Stepping away from all the numbers, remember to enjoy your life along the way, as retirement isn't the only way to happiness.